considered a situation where error can occur during administering the judgment. Once error occurs during judgment, how can you correct it?
A minute more.
Error can come in form of false testimonies, false evidences. Once this thing comes, how can you correct it once the person is dead? With these few points, I believe that death penalty is never the best option for terrorism. Thank you.
Today, my moderators, the incorruptible panel of judges, the accurate timekeeper, my co-debaters, my fellow students, and other protocols duly, highly, and fundamentally observed. Standing on this podium here is Anthony Chibike, representing Department of Building Technology, and I'm here to propose the motion which says that death penalty is the best punishment for terrorism. The following points. But before I go into all this, first and foremost, let me go by the words of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States of America. He said, and I quote, "He who knows not, and knows not that he knows not, is a fool. He who knows not, and knows not that he knows not, but think that he knows, is a fool. Shun him." With that, I want to shun my opponent with this point. Terrorism is an act which is very bad. The reason is this. According to statistical reports, it has been noted that terrorism is the worst criminality on humanity in contemporary world. So with this point, terrorism is an act which constitutes so many crimes all combined together. It comprises of treason, which actually carries a death penalty in any military regard. Secondly, it comprises of hijacking, kidnapping, murder, and all these minor cases, these minor crimes. The best punishment or the contemporary punishment for them is what? Death penalty. So when actually terrorism on its own carries all these things, comprises of all these things combined in one, what is the main punishment to be given to any terrorist? Is it not death penalty? There is a saying in the legal magazine, or in the legal world, in the legal luminary that says, a swimmer contained do. In extreme cases, extreme measures are taken. Terrorism is an extreme case, so we should take an extreme action. Secondly,
a minute more.
Secondly, in every society, there's this issue about fairness, equality, and justice. In every law-abiding society, there should be justice. We believe so much in what we call justitia omnibus, justice for all. And there's another saying that goes, justice, fiat justitia rat coelum, justice must be done, even heaven is falling. There's another saying that goes, justitia, fiat justitia, pirit mundus, justice must be done, even if all the rascals in the world perish from it. With this, I believe every law-abiding society should abide by justice. So with this, death penalty is the best punishment for terrorism.
Thank you very much. I will apply to the opposing department.
Panels of impartial and incorruptible judges, my accurate timekeeper, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and my co-debaters not left out. I am here this afternoon to oppose the motion which says death penalty is the best punishment for terrorism. Lots of debaters have been trying to define terrorism in various aspects, some trying to contradict terrorism. But we actually look into details why terrorists engage in terrorism. Sometimes they fight for political rights, sometimes religious purposes, and at the same time it could be for ideological purposes. We take them to be selfish because the perspective we see them. But the perspective they are working towards, they are selfish because they are working for the general goals of those who are denied of their rights. Here are 5 points to prove to you that death penalty is not the only punishment you can give to a terrorist. There are other corporal punishments which you can at least give to a terrorist, because trying to just like give justice that death penalty is the right punishment for them, you are trying to make them an hero in this society. Instead of adding to their names, why not we render them useless by amputating their legs, their hands. Because man who has no hand or leg, that only has ideas, is rendered useless carrying out his ideas.
A minute more.
So if they are amputated, I hope terrorism will decrease in our nation. Secondly, not denying their fundamental human rights because they have the right to live. Having the right to live, why should we, because of some judiciary acts that they need to be put to death? We are only contradicting what Christ let down. Christ gave us the grace. Grace meaning God's riches at Christ's expense. So why should we kill the terrorists? With this viewpoint of mine, I hope I'm able to convince the panel of judges and my co-debaters that death penalty is not the only punishment. It's not the best punishment for terrorism. Thank you.
Moderator, panel of judges, timekeeper, co-debaters, audience, all other protocols duly observed. I want to bring the situation home. We need to understand what's happening here. I'm looking at this crowd now. All of you here, peacefully seated here, listening to this program. Possibly 200 of us here, or more than that. And somebody walks in here and drops a bomb that kills all of us here. Should this person leave? Tell me. Now, how about our family members, our grieving family members? Will it not be an obscene insult on their person that we that have died, nothing was done about it? That this culprit was left to live? Now, my opponents say that these terrorists want to die. They've been brainwashed to die. Look, it doesn't matter if they want to die or not. It is not a terrorist preference if he wants to die. Simply put, these people who specifically target our families, you and me, peaceful civilians of the society, have no right to live. They forfeited their basic fundamental privilege. Now, one of my opponents also said, Brand Chineye, to be very precise, she quoted Article 5 that talks of right to life. She did not complete that quotation. That place also continued to talk of right to liberty. Now, if she says that violation of right to life, when a guilty life is killed, has occurred, then she's also saying that the right to liberty has been violated when a prisoner or a criminal is sent to prison.
A minute more.
I don't know if you get my reason. Now, she also talks of it being useless, about it being useless. Now, it is not useless, because when you say it is useless, then you're also saying that chastisement for wrongdoing is bad, because it still behooves or proves that when somebody is raped and nothing is done about it, if such trend continues in society, it will only mean anarchy. So on behalf of my department, along with my colleague, we still maintain that death penalty is the right punishment for terrorism.
State that death penalty, Romans chapter 12 verse 17 says that vengeance is of the Lord. The moderator, panel of the impartial judges, co-debaters, audience, good afternoon. I'm here to discredit the topic which says that death penalty is. I'm here to discredit the topic which says that death penalty is good for punishment. I'm here to discredit the topic which says that death penalty is the best punishment for terrorism. First of all, I would like to delve into the meaning of the topic. Death penalty simply means the execution of one as a result of an offense committed, whereas terrorism is the use of force to force government into a plan in order to achieve a goal. But death penalty the Declaration of the Constitution, which states that there is right to life. Secondly, death penalty sentences an innocent person to death. Thirdly, death penalty
Your time is up.
I'm here to speak on the topic that says death penalty is the best punishment for terrorism. But before I continue, I would like to give honor to whom honor is due by saying, good day, Mr. Medroto, Partial Panel of Judges, accurate timekeepers, co-debaters, and my able students. Good afternoon. Now, I want to ask a question that says, do we all believe in justice? If we all believe in justice, then justice must prevail. And if justice must prevail, then there is a need for us to now see that every terrorist must die or should die. Because if I ask you a question here again, that if your father who is training you in school is the only option of you becoming what you are in future, and now someone walks up into your family, kidnap the young man and kill him, if you're opportune to see him, what will you do? You want to kill him back. Thank you very much. So that is to say that death punishment is the best for terrorism. And now if you leave these people and you say you want to imprison them by jailing them, now you remember these people are technically wise and they have many tactics in putting things to destroy life. And nothing, they will stop at nothing to kill people. And now you're taking these people into the prison to join the hardened criminals inside there. Now tell me, if these people get into the prison, what will they do? They will form another gang inside the prison yard, which if they eventually break out from that place, they will come out to kill us. And with that, most of us here that are living here will not be able to see the place, the whole community and environment will no longer be conducive for us. And that is not the best. It is disheartening and sad to know that our justice system now seeks sympathy for the criminals now rather than the victims. It is very, very bad. Because if you look at everything now, the victims are suffering and they are hurt, they are pains. Terrorists here are here to inflict pains on a few and scare many away from the environment. And now if you look at that very well, you will know that the victims are unsafe. And the only way to help them now is to satisfy them by killing the person. I believe with this few points of mine, I'm able to convince and not to confuse you. Death penalty is the best punishment. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was from the Department of PS.
Moderators, accurate timekeeper, judges, and my fellow Nigerians. Good afternoon to you all. Much cannot be said about this fact. The right punishment for a terrorist. We all know that terrorists are human beings like us, and they have a right to live. So I would like us to be enlightened more on the costs associated with death sentences. We have social costs, we have the economic cost, we have the physiological effects, and what have you. So I implore to conscientize you on this subject and to get you all to understand that our contemporary society does not approve death sentence anymore. Despite the fact that terrorism are on the increase, our contemporary society is saying we should abolish death sentence. This is to get you all to understand that death sentence is becoming ineffective because these people are human beings like us. Do not be misconstrued about why the prisons were established. Prisons are meant to be a rehabilitation centers and is a place of maximum security. So I wish you all to understand that in a digital era like we have now, everybody is getting acquainted with technology, and several devices has been put in place to rehabilitate these subjects when they are caught.
A minute more.
So I implore you all, people of good conscience, to stand firmly where you stood, that death sentence is and should be abolished. Thank you.
Accurate timekeeper, my co-debaters and my fellow audience, good afternoon. Standing before you is Ibekalo Miracle, and I'm here to propose on the motion which states that death penalty is the right punishment for terrorism. Thank you. Death penalty, in my own explanation, I see it as an inhuman treatment. I see it as an inhuman treatment that deprives the good fellow citizens of their fundamental human rights, subjecting them to a state of tyranny at the expense of their freedom. This terrorism has embedded deep in the bone marrow of our nation. It has eaten down deep and has spread so wide like an epidemic. I won't forget to mention the Hiroshima nuclear bomb blast that took place in Japan some years back, rendering some lives homeless and wasting some innocent blood. Coming back home to Bayelsa, when some terrorists invaded Bayelsa State in an attempt to break the pipeline, which resulted in a fire outbreak that rendered so many lives useless, wasted some resources and some properties. Now, so many people will attest to the fact that unemployment is one of the facts that results to terrorism, and I strongly disagree with that, because most of this terrorism, if at all they went to school, bribed their way all throughout the university, and when they come into the labor market, face the challenge from the labor market, they find it very difficult to cope there, and their only resort is to go for the trigger. I won't forget to mention the Aba incident that happened in Abia State, Nigeria. For like 2 months ago, Aba has been in a siege, and I can recall vividly an incident that took place when a man was asked to rape his daughter right in the presence of the wife. What a dehumanizing and wicked act! And you tell me that these people deserve the right to live? Of course not. Even the Bible made a mention of that when it said, "Suffer not the witch to live." And as far as I'm concerned, these individuals are witches and wizards, and they deserve the right to die. I won't forget the fact also that what happened on the Independence Day of Nigeria. You can imagine Nigeria, as old as it is, a giant of Africa for that matter, experiencing a bomb blast on her day of anniversary, on 50th day anniversary, in an attempt to murder the president. That's a very wicked act, and I still believe that these individuals, they deserve the right to die. What human being in his right state of mind, will kidnap little children at the age of between the ages of 3 to 8 years, and subject them to unfavorable conditions unfavorable weather conditions, and exposing them to danger, and these little angels, starving them for days, if at all they gave them food to eat. An example has to be shown for others to take note, because even the Bible made mention of that. Should we continue to sin so that grace may abound? Of course not. And with these 3 points of mine, I believe that I've strongly convinced my opponents and the audience that death penalty is the best and the just treatment for terrorism. Thank you.
To take you to the Department of Computer Science, and I call to the podium the second speaker by the name Iwuji Cornelius. Please put your hands together as he climbs the podium.
Marshal judges, accurate timekeeper, my fellow co-debaters, ladies and gentlemen, good day. Standing before you is Iwuji Cornelius, and I'm here to repudiate the motion that says death penalty is best punishment for terrorism. But before I proceed, I'd like to give some definitions. What is terrorism? Well, terrorism, from my own perspective, is a crime or a violence perpetrated by a group of people compelling the government to act on the demands by threatening innocent citizens. Whereas death penalty, on the other hand, is a punishment of executing an individual for a crime committed. Now, due to the fact that terrorists has been brainwashed and indoctrinated with the belief that the shortest way to go to heaven is, to die in violence. These, however, have motivated them and hardened them and made them devoted to their cause. That is why Professor Esat Fata of the University of California said, and I quote, those who said that death penalty can stem the tide of terrorism are naive. Now, secondly, it increases the rate of martyrs. Yes, you may wonder. This is because the death of most prominent terrorists are oftentimes commemorated, remembered, and celebrated. And so upcoming ones are inspired by them, and they see them as their role model. Now, did you know that killing of terrorists is another way of publicizing them? Yes, and making their political ambitions to be well known.
A minute more.
And then also, killing of terrorists cannot stop upcoming ones. This is because they would want to revenge the demise of their brothers, and this will result to a multiplying effect. And so death penalty in this regard is counterproductive. And then lastly, I don't think that death penalty can in any way relinquish this ugly menace called terrorism, simply because they are not afraid of death. And in 1985, an English